So I would request every time I request that even I send in email also to comment, like, share the post. And if you are getting the participation certification, people are doing, I know some people are doing, but if some other are missing, please do that. So it would be a happy for us. So that is the only main request from my side. Even right now I'm getting so many new requests that the new people are asking to do the session again, because we didn't attend that session and all. So yeah, that is from my side. Thank you. So I would like to thank Sumit again for participating in this session and taking this session in this busy schedule. Thank you, Sumit. So I would like to hand over my mic to you. You can quickly jump into your session. Yeah. Thank you, Sumit.
Thanks, Nikhil. It is a pleasure to connect with everyone and talk about RPA. It's such a forum. Thank you for that. Could you please put yourself on mute?
Yeah, I think somebody Shiv or somebody is in
Yeah.
unmute. And
Nikhil, could you
Shiv,
please?
sorry, this one, Sumit, you can you please make your voice loud? We are getting low voice.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes, it is better if you can increase more. Also fine. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Nikhil. I'll surely
Yeah,
increase my
yeah,
voice. Yeah.
it is cool, and thank you.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
share your thing, and I'm started my recording.
I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, 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 yes,
Nikhil?
yes, yes. And
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you. Greg. Yeah. So guys, my name, as I mentioned, Nikhil, my name is Sumit Singh. I'm working with the TCS from last 8 years, where I'm working as a business analyst and into RPA section from last 2.5 years. Okay. So today we are going to cover a PDD, which is a process definition document, which is a very vital part in RPA world. Okay. So we are going to see that today. So I'll open my slide. Yeah, so two main things. PDD document, which is a process definition document, and second is a handover document. Okay, so we were supposed to take this session on 6th of August, but due to some unfortunate reason, we have to postpone this session. So no worries, we will cover it today. So the first point which we are going to see is process definition document, which is a PDD, and the second part on later on we'll see handover documents. So PDD. Yeah. So like any other software projects, like any other for RPA or for non-RPA, like website development, application development, mobile development. So whatever the kind of developments, we prepare a document which consists of a requirement. Okay. So you'll find it for non-RPA process, the people are preparing a BRD, which is a business requirement document, and then FRD, functional requirement document. So there are many document types and there are different names. Okay. So in RPA world, we prepare a document called first we do initial process assessment, then we prepare our business case, which consists of what we have studied in initial process assessment. Then we also put estimation effort, the cost, the schedules, and the team support, who will be there to support and what role that person will follow. And then we prepare a process definition document. Okay, we prepare this when we do a detailed requirement gathering. I'll explain the entire flow, and then we prepare a test plan. Then we prepare a solution design document. Then handover document. So there are different documents we prepare. So so PDD. Okay, when we prepare this. Okay, when we did initial process assessment, then we prepare a business case. Then we present to the customer. Okay, customer sees, okay, these many processes we studied. These are suitable for automation. Reason are this, and these are not suitable for automation. Reason is this, and we also put a benefit. And after seeing this, customer says, okay, okay, out of 10, you can proceed with 8. I'm happy with your analysis you provided, figures you provided. So you can go ahead and start RPA deployment. So for RPA deployment, the first stage is documenting a PDD, process definition document. So who does this? Yes, business analyst. This is a core responsibility of business analyst to understand the process and do a detailed documentation. So we use document called process definition document, in which we mention a detailed requirement. So what we do, we sit with a process expert, or call it as a SME. We understand the process, then we define in scope, we define out of scope, we define number of scenarios, we capture a volume for a particular process, then FT is number of people currently working for that process, and SLA and other stuff. So this document is mainly, we call it as a requirement document. So whatever we put in this document will be considered for a development. Okay, so it contains a main section like mentioned here, document history, which says a name of author, who prepared that this document, who approved this document, and document versions. So document versions, like when we first time we create a document, we put it as an initial draft point 1, or some people put it as 1.0. Okay, it's up to you how you start. Then we put a process key contact for this document, who was the owner, like for this process, this person is the owner, this process is a reviewer, this process is a subject matter expert. And the third section is a process map. In as is in current world, we prepare a process flow, how process start, from where it start, where it goes, what to check, in which application to check. This is process steps and application which required. Then we put a to be process, to be. So when we do this, when we document process definition document, that time bot is not created. We only capturing the current process requirements. Okay, so in the document we mention to be a very high level, put it. Okay, this might change after draft the PDD. Then you, after drafting the PDD, you discuss with your technical lead, solution architect. So that to be which you had inserted in initial PDD, which might change after discussion with your technical counterparts. Okay, then we put in scope, out of scope RPA. So these when we study post process, we put it, yeah, these will be the in scope and this will be the out of scope. In scope, yeah, this is feasible under RP application. Out of scope, this is not feasible in RPA scope due to application issue, or due to some government requirement, due to some other things. Okay, we put it why in scope and why out of scope. And then we put business application. So sorry, then we put the exception handling. Okay, so whenever bot does something, it sometimes it encounters a known system exception, unknown system, which we will see that later on in detail. And then we mention as a reporting, like in whenever we prepare any application or anything, we have to generate some reports. Okay, so like I said, key once we receive the go ahead from a customer, then we do a detailed a process gathering, then we prepare this a document. Okay, so who all use this document and why they use it? So process SME and process manager, they use this document to confirm and validate, yeah, whatever requirement mentioned by a business analyst in this document are correct, are validated. Yeah, and tech lead and tech architect also use this. They use to create a to be process flow. So in Azis world, this was the process flow, but in 2B, when we deploy the bot will work this way. Bot will connect here, bot will stop here, like that. Developer also use this document. Developer use this document to create a solution design document, and for bot development. So for bot development, whatever requirement mentioned in PDD, developer has to refer to that. And then business analyst and tester. Business analyst itself create the document, but he and tester also refers his document to create a test scenarios and test cases. So let's look at this document in detail. Yeah. So this document, like the version of this document was like created by UiPath. This is like a general document. You can use it for any your Blue Prism automation, any Kofax or any other application. So you have to when you join any project, you have to ask to your customer, do we have any standard, any defined template for PDD? If you have that, if your customer has that, then you have to use that particular document. If your customer does not have any standard defined PDD, then you can refer to this process design document created by UiPath. Okay, so this says the name, logo of your company. You can put it your logo. For example, you are from Wipro, then put the logo of Wipro, or put the logo of your customer. Your customer is ABC. If that ABC has a logo, then put it over here. Then it says the process design document. Okay, the name of the document, and it says here order to cash. This is the process name. So we have captured requirement for a process which has a name as order to cash. So let's go down. Yeah, so here it is a note. Note says ki this document is about what, why this document is created. Okay, so you can refer to this document, you can put it your own. See, this document is created for a requirement. This will be used by the bot for like processing in a 2B world. Then in document history, okay, so whenever we draft a document, we have to put document history. We started with 1.0. So role who has started this, it was the author role. Name of the person you have to write, the organization of that person, the function was business analyst, and comment like when you create a first time, you put it as created document version 1.0, or you put it as an initial draft. Okay, and after that, whenever you make any changes in the document at a later stage, you have to put it okay, on this document on this date, the initial draft was created on third of some changes were made, and again after on first some changes were made. So whatever it is, you have to put it like this only. So version, like we some people like they start with point one. Okay, then point two, if any after point one is initial draft, or some people start like 1.0. Okay, after let's assume we are starting with point one. Okay, and if we after that, after we drafted point one and we shared the document with the SME or anyone else, and if we came to know that yeah, there are some changes, then if changes are very minor, okay, then we change the document version history to point two, and after again a minor change, then point three, and after that again minor 1.0. Okay, and at point one, if there are at any stage, if there are let's say a major change received, then we make it to 1.0. Okay, if it is a minor, we make it to point two. So you have to ask your customer, your senior team, that how we mention a version control history. This varies per project to project. Okay, then in the after document history, there is a section called document approval flow. Okay, then again this document was approved by whom. Okay, so we as a business analyst, we sit with the SME process expert, we understand the process, we document it, then after that we have to share the document with someone to approve. Whatever we had updated in the document, it has to be correct, it has to be complete, there should not be any gaps. So the person we share with SME has to go through the document and approve it. After it goes to SME's manager or head. So who all will be the approval? You have to put their name, their role, and their organization department, and when those person have signed off this document. Okay, and then it has a table of content. It says this document should contain what. It says introduction, in which it says proposal document, objectives, key contacts, and then others flow, and then to be description, other options. These are like main headings, which we'll see it now in detail. Okay. So introduction, the purpose of this document. So what is the purpose of this document? So this says the process definition document outlines the business process chosen for automation using a UiPath robotic process automation technology. So this process is like it contains the requirements of the business process which we selected for automation. If it is your Blue Prism, just mention Blue Prism. If it is automation anything, mention is that only. Or if it is something else, then mention the name of that technology. Then it says this document describes the sequence of steps performed as a part of business process. So in the document, we mentioned the steps like, let's say, order to cash. Okay, order to cash is a process. So how we start? So we start the system. After that, we go to one website or we open any application. Then we perform logging. Then in some part we see the number of cases for working. Okay. After that, we pick one case. For that case, we do first do validation. Then we check what kind of request. Then we perform. These are our steps. Then after some time, we come to conclusion. Yeah, this process transaction is completed. So we have to mention a step by step. We have to break that process and mention in the steps from start to end how to complete that transaction of any given process. So objective. So what is the objective of from this document? So objective, we have to automate this particular process. So this is like objective. So you have to mention it accordingly. Then key contracts. So for this solution, for this process, who are the key persons to be contacted in case of any emergency, in case of any clarification? So like process SME, the point of contact for questions, then process reviewer, point of contact. So again, if any clarification we require, then process owner, if any escalations, if anything delays are happening, then we can contact this. So this is how we have to update key contacts of this process. Then this section says a minimum prerequisites for automation. Okay, so what are the prerequisites for automation? So whenever we select any process, now we put it as prerequisites. Let's say um, here it is mentioned field and like approved process design document, test data supported for development, user access for particular that dummy environment, and dependency with other processes. So whatever prerequisites in the for that process we have to mention. Let's say uh, a target application should have a lower environment or testing environment. There should be a testing data. Okay, and then and other like user IDs creation, everything should be there. So whatever prerequisites for your process, you have to put it. Then it comes as this process description. It's a current a process description. So they have mentioned a process full name, then process area, department, process a short summary, what this process is high level. Then a role required. So what kind of who which role perform this process? So account receivable. Then process schedule and frequency, when this process should be done and what time. Then a number of cases per day we receive. So an AST per case, the average handling time. So how much time we require to complete that particular transaction of any process, or call it as a transaction or call it as a case. Then peak period. Peak means during what time for particular this process, number of requests, number of volume increases. So we have to mention peak period. Then transaction during peak period, transaction during normal period. See, the normal period it says 450, okay, and peak period says is 600, okay. So you have to mention like that. So total number of FTEs supporting this. FTE means human processor. So 10 FTE supports this process of 450 volume per day, which takes 3 minutes. For as per their calculation, their timing, it says ki 10 FT we require. So you have to like put all this information. Then it says 12 column expected increase of volume in the next reference period. Okay, if during a peak time, if it increases, what is the percentage of increase you have to mention. Then level of exception rates. So you have to also mention exceptions. Okay, exception says key when you perform this particular process, okay, at some stage you receive some errors from application. Okay, then you have to put it. What are the exception rates? And then it says input data. So what is the input source? So how to start particular case? What is the basis? Let's say if it is email automation, we read, we check wordings or we check attachment. If it is application automation, then we how to identify particular that transaction. Okay, so it says the input. So how we start, and output, what we want any kind of form to be updated, any kind of website to be updated, any kind of application to be updated, or we have to send any email to the customer, to any party. So that says input and output. Okay, then again in current one, in Azure world, what are the applications we use? So what are the applications we need to complete, let's say order to cash is a process. Okay, so complete any case or like transaction of order to cash. So what are the applications we need it? Okay, so we have to put it. So for this process, they need Outlook, they need ERP, they need Excel. So what are the applications you'll see, you have to put it over here. Then it says whether it has a system language. Sometimes you will also find that there are some applications which are not in English, they are in some Japanese, some Chinese. So you have to put it which language it has. Then whether it is a thin client or it is a thick client, you have to mention with thin, it's like you're accessing via RDP or not, so you have to define it. Then it says environment. So whether it's a web browser, whether it's a Windows application, you have to put it. And if any other comments like high level, this we use this application for this purpose, we use this for this purpose, we have to put it. So like these are all defined. By looking at the heading, you'll come to know what you need to update. Then second section says as is process map. So in current world, okay, I have to see in a pictorial way how this process flow, where it starts, what it does, and how it ends. So they have mentioned, see, in Outlook it starts, and Outlook only it ends. So it starts, then it comes here, then it comes here, then it goes to a desktop application, and if certain condition met, then it's coming to ERP application, and after that it's at its ending, its flow is going like, see, it's ending here. Similar way for desktop, it's doing some steps, some decision box checking, and it's ending here. So we use like us for a flow, no, as a flow we use like start or end the same icon. Then we use activity or open email. So these are like activity, like a step. And this you can see these are like a decision box. Yes, no, if yes, then this action, if no, then this action. So this way we have to put it. So this called as a swim lane as is flow. So swim lane is key. Swim, this Outlook is first, desktop is second, third. So this is created in a swim lane. So always it is like recommended, always you create a process flow in a swim lane, so we can understand in which application is starting, for which scenario it's going to which application, and how it is ending. So it is always recommended to use a swim lane. So you can learn more about the swim lane in a Google, or just do a YouTube, you'll get to know that flow. Okay, then after that it has mentioned like a detail as is flow. Okay, so like I mentioned, um, we have to put it like stage start, step one, okay, open this application. Step two, log in this application. Step three, pull the working report. Step four, pick the case, go to particular application. So in detailed process flow, we mentioned that from step one, login, then again after some steps, checking, validation, processing, and till last stage, which is the end. So this is how we have to put it. So they have described how you have to put it all. The input data description they have mentioned, like you understand how we put it like. Okay, so in that we all put it. And also sometimes we have to add. So if for any stage, let's say we are opening any application, okay, and in that we have to click on a particular button. Let's say we have to add, okay, I'll take that in detail. So in as is how we mention, like I said, in step one we mention which application to open. In step two we mention we have to perform login. So for login, if you want to put any note, okay, particular, let's say this particular application, when you click on login button, it always takes 60 seconds. So you can put a note like that, yeah, at login stage we have to wait for 60 seconds. Or if it is a case sensitive, or if that login requires any email flow, any OTP, or it requires any capture, then you have to put a note. So for whichever stage you think we should add a note, okay, then we have to put it. So the note will help developer to understand, yeah, for particular this was, this is a note, so I have to take care of, I have to consider this particular note. Okay, then this is how we put step one, then this step two, this step two, three, this, then again for whichever stage you think we have to add a note, then we put it. So how we update, for each stage we try to put a screenshot. Okay, let's say we are using a Outlook. Okay, so in Outlook we have to read a body, we have to also check attachment. So in we show the screenshot, okay, this is where we are going to find a body text, this is where we are going to find a attachment. Okay, let's say we are doing some activity on application. Okay, then we have to see on which screen, for which particular field we have to perform. So we have to also put an explanation, also we have to put a screenshot, so that will help developer to understand, yeah, this explanation is all about this screen, this field. Okay, this is how you have to update it. Let me see if it's open. Yeah, this is not required. Was it? Yeah. Then a to be process description. So this was all about like as is, like you have to mention a process, you have to break down the process, and you have to mention it in a detail. Then in a to be process description. Okay, so to be process is like if when we are going to deploy that bot, the bot will gonna work like this only. So this was the as is. Okay, this was the as is flow. So in 2B, a developer technical lead, they says ki, yeah, this process will look like this, or according to BA during initial stage ki, yeah, this process will look like this, and BA had to just mention the flow. Okay, start with here. So see here, if you let me zoom it, you can see here it says the manual and this is automated. So in 2B world, the whatever in blue will be automated, sorry, whatever blue are the manuals, whatever in orange red will be automated. So they are mentioned like how it is going to be in 2B. Then if anything change, it's gonna change, then we have to put it, what are the change, how it gonna be. Okay, and then it says in scope for RPA, out of scope for RPA. So when we discuss with SME, then we come to know ki, yeah, then you come to know ki, yeah, so this process has this many steps, but according to RPA application, the feasibility, the kind of RPA application we are using, this part are like we can't automate this part, or this part are sure we can automate. So we put, yeah, these are the in scope and these are the out of scope. Always you have to, like, you have to like argue, you have to take a bind from SME. Yeah, this will be in scope, confirm at this stage only, that or it will create a problem if we change it. So defining in scope, defining out of scope is very important part in a PTT. Okay. So you have to just list down ki, yeah, if this process has this many scenarios, according to me this will be the in scope and this will be the outer scope, and you have to put the reason why you think so. The next critical part is exception handling. Okay, so in a bot what bot does is, bot is like it works on a control, the way human works, the way human put take the control from here to here, similar way bot does. Okay, so during this moving the control, if any exceptions come from the application side or from any other issues, then we have to how to handle that exception. Okay, some processes will have like a known business exception. So business exception, so there are two broader categories of exception. One is a business, second is a system. So business exception is like, see, in a process, now we define in scope, we define out of scope. So if any scenario, okay, which meet the condition of out of scope, okay, then we call it as a business exception. Or we think, okay, let's say we are automating a pension claim, okay, work type, which says age of the customer should be above 55, okay, to complete that, to move ahead with pension claim processing. Okay, and during processing, bot came to know, okay, the age of the person is not meeting above age 55 category. Yeah. Then it comes under a business exception. It says, so bot will inform to human over email the way we define our exception handling. Yeah, in particular this case, the age of the customer is not above 55, hence please handle this case manually. So we call this as a business exception. Second is system exception. So in business and system, there are two main again categories, known and unknown. So in system, we know at this stage sometimes this application freezes or it gets logged or it gets locked out. Okay, so we know, okay, at this stage this happens. Okay, in a business exception we have defined for particular this part, bot should inform to a human, okay, ki, for this particular case we have found, bot has found this, so you have to handle this particular part manually. So in a business exception, in system exception, we put it as a known. If these are known, so if known exception found, take this action. Okay, and if it is unknown, so something, the unknown means something that we haven't defined. Let's say it may be mostly come from applications and UI path is down, or let's say that target application is down. So we haven't defined that particular that exception in a process. So we call it as an unknown exception. Okay. Then after that, then again it depends how are we handling the exception. So let's say, so see, for business exception, we know we have to handle this particular part to human. So we what we do, bot just pass that case and inform to human. Okay, you can proceed ahead. There is nothing for bot to do. And for unknown, no, for unknown exception, what we do, we sometimes say it like, okay, for in first attempt bot got some exceptions. Okay, so we'll go for second attempt, we'll go for third attempt. Then after we decide, okay, bot tried for 3 attempts after that, and for all the 3 attempts the error is same. Then what we do, we inform to the business ki bot has tried for particular this case 3 times, but every time got the same error, hence please process this case manually. So this is how we handle exceptions, and we inform to the human process, to manual team. So how we inform, we take help of emails. So we send key we send email to particular any SME we know. If we know the group ID of that team, so we put that into and we decide to whom to put in CC. That all we define in Nikon gathering. So we accordingly put it in subject line. We put that how to identify the unique case, and put a case ID. Okay, and then we put key hi team. For this particular case, bot has tried 3 times, but it is received below exception, and please handle this case manually. Thanks, bot. If we know a business exception, then also we send emails. Okay, for this case, age of the customer is below than 55, hence please process this case manually. So that the manual team, okay, they will come to know ki, yeah, by looking at the warning given by bot or email ki, yeah, this case a customer age is less than 55. Okay, this case, this was an unknown system exception error. So they'll get to know, okay, yeah, bot has done something and something else is pending. So we have to notify, and how we handle. Like I said, after 3 exceptions, we are not going to try it again. So it decides how we are going to handle it and how we are going to inform it. So like I mentioned, so there are some known which we know at this stage this exception will come. So bot has to do this, and if it is unknown, we are not sure at what stage this exception might come. So that all comes to unknown. So see, for unknown error exception, it's mentioned. For all the other unanticipated or unknown application expression error, the robot should send an email notification to this particular email ID and error message and screenshot attached. If you can attach the screenshot, that is a better. If you don't, it's okay. If you put it in a detail error warning, that particular team will get to know. And also in exception handling, so for business exception, we include business in 2 and CC. Okay, and for system exception, we also include operation maintenance, that support team's ID. Okay, because unknown is like, it might be a target application issue, it might be an UI path issue, blue prism issue. So that operation maintenance team will look into it. Okay, for this case, three exception consecutively received. So means something there is wrong with the application. They'll check as per the warning, as per that screenshot attached. They'll say, yeah, this application has some downtime or there is some failure in a login. So that team will rectify, and then they will start the bot. So that all purpose of exception handlings. And then reporting. Okay, so reporting also main section of any RPA project. So in reporting, so we ask to SME, so how frequently you want to receive. Okay, let's say bot is working for 8 hours. So how frequently you want to report that, to see how many cases processed by bot, how many exceptions received. So you have to ask. If they say, okay, every 2 hours I want a report from bot, if these many cases were processed, for this many cases exceptions, so you have to ask. Some people will say, okay, I want it every hour, I want 2 hours, or some people will say, okay, I want it at the end of the day. So you have to like ask your customer, your subject matter expert, how frequently you want and what are the sections you want in that report. Okay, let's say a serial number, then case ID, date, when that bot was processing that case, and status, if it is completed, if it is exception received, if it is exception received, then what was the exception. So you have to ask uh, what all things you want in a report. So we send a MI report. Okay, I don't know the full form, I forget. So it's a MI report consists of like activities done by the bot, this many cases were processed, for this many cases were successful, for this many cases were like we received an exception. Okay. And then other observations, if you have any other observation, like you have to mention it, specific business model requirements and anything like you want to add. Let's say he for this particular process, someone else, third party does any authorization, any audit, or these are like government rule for which may be applicable for this process. So which developer need to taken care of. So you have to put it over here if there are any other observations. Okay. And then this section says additional sources for process documentation. Okay, so for while documenting this process, so like these are the artifacts which we collected. Let's say a video recording of this process, how that human does in manual world. Let's say SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. That's a process guide in as is world. This team, this file, this process guide. According to process guide, they do a transaction, whatever it is. Okay, and then business logic, a transition table. If you know the if let's say that process has a 10 scenarios. Okay, for this 10 scenario, these are the logic they use, so you have to include that also. And if you have any other documentation, then you can include. Okay, so you have to put the name, what document type, okay, from like how it is, and you have to insert the copy of that document in the comment section. Okay, so this was the format like defined by UiPath. As I said, the format of PDD, the columns, okay, it may change in scope, out of scope. It's coming at second, so the format may change. Okay, so you have to ask your customer, what is the format, but high level, the tables, like I mentioned. So this document history, document approval flow, it will remain as it is. Introduction, it will remain as it is. Key contacts, then as is process, to be process, it will remain as it is. And exception handling. These are like main criteria of PDD, which will remain no matter what format you're using for RPA document. Okay, so this was all about a PDD, process definition document, which is a very important. So like, as I mentioned, we have to take the download from a process expert SME, a detailed download. We have to define in scope, out of scope. We have to put all the requirements. Then we have to put a high level 2B according to BA, according to BA's RP experience. This is how bot will work. Okay, and exception handling. Like we have to agree with a business and that team. This is how the exception will be handled, and these are the exception types. Okay. So this was all about PDD. We'll jump to next section of slide. Yeah, the next section, like I mentioned, PDD is over. We'll see now handover document. So what is the handover? So what is the handover mostly, and at which stage this handover comes into the picture? Handover means we are giving some document to some team or some individual. So when this happens, so as I mentioned, the RPA process flows like initial process assessment. Okay, we share a business case with customer providers the go ahead. After that, we do a detailed process gathering. We create a process definition document. Okay, after this document, we give it to the subject matter expert, their manager. Okay, it is like a requirement captured by me. Please check and provide the sign up. Okay, after we receive a PDD sign off, what we do, we explain the requirement to our developers, to our technical lead. Then they create a solution design document. Okay, that document states how bot will work in a detailed way. After that, after SDD created, developer will do a development, then he'll do unit testing, system integration testing, then it will come to UAT stage. So UAT stage, we prepare high level test scenarios and low level test cases. After we do a testing, we share our test results with business, we take a sign off, then it comes to deployment stage. So before deployment stage, we have to create two documents. Okay, first is the operational handbook, second is a support handbook. So operational handbook means the document for that team who does in a current world, who does a manual work. Okay, let's say order to cash. Okay, for this particular process, there's a team who does a manual work. Okay, so once we deploy the bot, what is the action required by that team? Okay, instruction, in short, instruction for that team in a 2B world. So what they need to check, what action they should take. So So this document is generally prepared by a business analyst or a process expert who knows what the scenarios like covered in scope, what is not covered in out of scope, and if there are exceptions, then what action should be taken according to exception. So we mention all those things in an operation handbook document. So this document will be used by the operations team, the business team. Okay. The second document is support handbook. Okay. So we create this document for a support and maintenance team who are going to maintain the bot. Okay. So in that we from the development point of view, so normally a developer prepares this document. This is not a part of a business analyst, but yeah, but in handover document, two documents comes: operational and support. In support, this mostly prepared by the developer. That developer has to, in the document, developer has to mention the PDD, copy of PDD attached, then attach copy of SDD, test plan, cases, details of stakeholders. So whatever activities we have done particular for this process in a 2B world, in Agile world, we have to put everything so that support team will get to know the information. What are the documents, what are the code, where which servers we have used it, okay, what are the requirement, what was the PD, what was the SDD, and what are the test plan, what are the test cases. So if any changes come, this support team will refer to a, a appropriate document, and according to they will take the action. Okay, so operation documents prepared by a business analyst, support documents prepared by a developer. Okay, so the flow was like, as I said, the initial process assessment, then a customer sign off. Okay, like to go ahead to start the bot deployment, development and deployment, then PDD, BA, then SDD, a developer, then UAT, a business analyst or a tester. Then we do prepare this handover documents, and after that we do a deployment. Then we follow that hypercare plan, and if hypercare plan succeed, the exit criteria met, then we that bot goes live. Okay, after that process ends. So this was all about handle documents and process definition document, guys. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comment box.
Thank you so much, Sumit, for explaining in detail about the documents and all. So it was nice. So I think we have a couple of questions. We'll check. You can stop your screen share, and we'll go to the. What do you put in impact on to be in out of scope section? Like for example, in to be part, if it is out of scope, what do you mention? And positive.
We can,
Yeah.
yeah, we just put what is out of scope and what is the reason. Let's say a process is like a payment automation. Okay, one person does the payment, second person takes it. Okay, so some company, some government says, okay, only you can automate a user one. You can't automate the work of a person who does the authorization, who checks. Okay, so you have to put it why it was out of scope. Okay, or if you know, let's say that process involve a letter reading. Okay, later we just type manually, handwritten data. So we can't automate that part. We know using RP technology we can't. Then we have to put, okay, this part is out of scope. Reason is this. Yeah.
Okay. What resolutions you can provide for the system logout issues?
Yeah, if you know the resolution, you have to like understand. You have to assess what they do when they get to know the system is logged on. Then what we do? Then again they do a login. Again they put a case number, and then again they start where it was left. They again start it from there only. So whatever in manual, whatever action they do, you have to put it.
Okay.
If they contact IT headless team, then you have to throw an exception. Say, your team for this particular application, this case, this error is received, and you have to contact now IT team to resolve this error.
Yeah. And what is parallel initiatives?
Parallel initiatives. Okay, in a 2B world, if you are like making any changes in the process, okay, let's say in Az's world, they were following 10 steps, okay, but you found out that step and 2, 3 can be removed. Okay, if any idea, if any H2 is there, then you can put it in that section.
Okay. How to separate the thin client and thick client? So he's asking like differentiate. How can?
Yeah, the thin client is mostly when we access some application remotely. I think that comes in the thin client, and thing which we accept locally that comes on thick client. I guess so.
Yeah, it is.
I'll revert to that person in a detail. I just want to know the name of the person. She right? Yes, Shiv. I'll let you know on that. Okay.
Yeah, that is the thing
Yeah, yeah,
which you
sure, sure. Thank
explained
you.
is correct. So my thin client and thick client is the same. The thin client is the normal and thick client would be the VDP environments or the Visual Desktop Citrix environment we used to call thin and thick clients. Then we need to estimate like for thin client estimation would be different and the thick client the estimation would be different because in the Citrix environments and all we have only the image automation, so like SAP or something which is installed in the Citrix, so that we will consider thin client and thick client.
Okay. Thanks.
Hmm. How do we add ROC details in operational handbook? Like operational details in the handbook.
Operational details, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So in operations, mostly we write key. So after 2B of this one process, these were the scenarios. These scenarios are automated. Okay, will be taken care by the bot. These scenarios are not automated, so human has to take the this is action. So they'll move. It is like a process guide.
Okay.
Okay, which consists of what action need to take, how to take. Okay, where to identify, where to be picked. So it's a process guide only.
Okay. Thanks. So, without doing automation, how we can write exceptions in our PDD?
Without doing automation,
I
how
mean,
can we write
without
exception?
implementing the automation, how you will get to know the exceptions?
No, we do not see. We are in PDD. We only write known, which we are known to us. We write only known exceptions. Okay, and after development, whatever exceptions come, that all comes under unknown. Unknown means we can't define. Okay,
Yes,
there.
exactly. That is true. Adding to that, so known exceptions, which is describing. So we will discuss with the SME or the process owner or the product owner. We will discuss what kind of exceptions we used to get it on daily basis. What kind of exceptions do we encountered? For this exception, do we have a solution or not? So if the X exception is coming, what is this solution? If Y exception is coming, what is the solution? So the business analyst will ask this kind of questions and all to the SME. Then he will propagate the exceptions. So that kind of exceptions we will consider as a known, and we will mention it in PDD. So what in yes, your question is also true. So in the development stage, developer might be getting some new kind of exceptions which we didn't encounter. So that we can consider as unknown exception, and for the unknown exception also, if we have a solution for that initially encountered or not, that it can be covered, or else we will mention as unknown exception. So there will be business rules for each and every exception, so the business rule should be maintained always.
Yeah, right.
Okay, can you please brief between to be and as is? Thin client and music client. Yes. Can you please describe? So he's telling, how can you describe to be or as is? What is the difference and how? Actually, I think he already
So,
explained.
yeah, yeah. So to be so again, this one again. So as this is like current state, okay, and to be is like after we bot deploy. So whatever stage it is a to be state. Okay, so in as state, bot is not working. Okay, the process is manual. In to be state means bot is working and process is automated.
Right. So okay, thanks. So I think these are the questions. Any other question, guys? We are already the time. So if you not immediately, we'll jump into the question. I have the questions. So, ready with your sorry window, chat window. So I'm writing the question. Yes, this is the question, which Sumit already explained. Okay, good. I got most of the answers are correct. Most of the answers are perfect. So I want to pick one person. So let me see. So the answer would be uh, from Shivani. That is correct, I think. Parth, can you check?
Yeah, Shivani has answered system exception, business, and unknown.
Yes, and Jareen, business system known and unknown. Yeah, so both are correct. So even other persons from Hindu business exception known and unknown. Second again, Shivani, it's a type of mistake she's telling, and Ram, he's telling like password business exception. Yeah, so Shivani and uh, George,
Zarin.
Jarin George are correct. So in between these two, I need to pick Shivani, I guess. Mm, okay, fine. So I'm having the next question. So the next question is very simple, guys. Be ready. Very, very simple, I'm telling. Be ready with your answer. You will definitely tell this. And I don't take your time much. Please wait for two seconds. Yes, this is the question, guys. Please check. Good, guys. I got all the answers. Good, good, guys. It is good. Who was the first? I think.
Zarin was the first.
Oh, again. Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats, Jerry. So, um, 1 second. Jarin, can you please give me your name, email ID, and LinkedIn ID? I had you. Just want to take. I had with typing.
Yeah, I think she is typing.
Okay. Great. So, so thank you so much, guys. Before I closing this session, I forgot one thing. Don't jump. Just excuse for 2 seconds. Are you able to see my screen?
No, Nikhilesh.
Okay. 1 second. I guess now it is visible.
Not yet. Yeah, now it is. Now it is.
So I would like to congratulate Venkat Ramakrishna for the winner of the yesterday session. So thank you so much, Ramakrishna, for being active for complete 8 sessions. You didn't miss one session also. So thank you so much for attending the sessions and in your busy schedule. I know you are busy, but still you are your time and joining all the sessions and being an active participant. And congratulate for the small gift or small certificate from our side. Thank you so much. And yesterday one more person. So Shiv Kumar. So congratulations, Shiv Kumar. So you are also being an active participant for the last 8 sessions. So thank you so much for learning some knowledge
Your
from.
voice is getting cut.
I think somebody is in mute. As a part, you are only that your voice is disturbing. I mean, mute. So thank you so much, Venkat, and thank you so Ramkrishna and Shiva. So give me 1 second, guys. And before that, I'm asking. So are you going to be